right, good evening. It's Thursday, November 21st, 2024, and this is the South Haven Planning Commission workshop. I'm going to call the workshop to order. And Kelly, we're going to talk about master plan update and future land use map.
We are. We have Becca and Marcy from the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission here with us tonight. They have been leading this process to update our 2018 master plan. And we have an exercise to look at specifically the future land use map, and the associated categories are described in the plan, the draft plan, which was part of your packet, but we will not be spending time tonight going through that plan per se. It was included for your information, so you would have access to the descriptions of the categories that go along with the map, and because a draft of the plan was requested. But tonight's purpose is specifically for us to focus on the future land use map. And I will not say any more and turn it over to Marcy and Becca.
So, this,
Speaker.
so, are people online at all or not?
Yes, potentially they are.
Okay,
I can project the packet or the map, anything that you'd like, I can
okay.
send to the screen. But we can also use the papers that you brought and conduct this in any way that you would like.
Okay, it's probably just not
Do
gonna
you
be
need an
very.
easel?
No, what I would like to do is put these maps on a table and have you guys come and stand around them and look at them and work on the map itself as kind of a work session. That's what I found to be the most productive. So it doesn't go well for people who are online because it's hard to see that or be involved in that. But that's just the nature of it. So, but if you guys are okay with that, that's what I would propose that we do. And I could put these two tables over here together with the maps, and we could go over there and work on them if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
Awesome. Put you to work.
We just would have to move the mics up to the.
What was your,
If you prefer, we can push the front two tables together, or if it's just as easy, we can
yeah, if
move
it's
to the
not too
back.
much problem.
No, we just have to
trouble.
move the microphones.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Feel free to get up. Because we're going to take your space with the microphones.
Literally, that's how this thing's operating.
So, hopefully this looks familiar.
with that change in the zoning and wondered if the planning commission would consider something on the future land use map that might help them in the future, should they, seek to make improvements on the property, or, something like considering that site commercial so that it would help them in the future if they sought a rezoning or something like that in order to make changes to the business.
Well, we know that all this used to be zone business, resort. And what we had, Pancake House, Channel One Restaurant, used to be, this was all commercial in business, like industrial a little bit, I think.
Right.
Part of the old downtown, city loop across the river.
I think for a while, wasn't a lot of that rezoned such that Channel One or the other restaurant over there,
Pancake House,
the Pancake
Rupert.
House, Rupert's, when Rupert's became, a couple of different things,
Republican.
Republican, but they had to continue to use that only as a restaurant, because it was not conforming, was it not conforming at that time?
I don't know for sure. I suspect that it was, but I don't know.
If we certainly want, supposed to be able to not only continue, but if they were to sell that, sell that as a business, it could continue
Right.
as a business. Even if it's still considered not conforming, that will allow them to have that continue, but it might limit them.
Yes, and if something happened and it was destroyed, that would significantly limit them. And that's my concern is that, it became non-conforming through the new zoning ordinance, which we now have confirmation from Andy saying it's more than a recodification. It's a complete overhaul. And it extracted a permissible, making that a permissible legal lawful use in the current zoning ordinance. It's the revised zoning ordinance, which is making it non-conforming. And that was never identified as a change.
So in terms of allowing them to do this, in the existing ordinance, it was just listed as another municipal use along with a whole list of things. Is that
Yes.
not an appropriate way
It's
in
not,
zoning?
because
Okay, so
no
we have to
one
find
else
another
would be able to build a bakery in the RM1 in any other location. Only that bakery in that existing size in that location,
Why is that?
because that's the way it was written in the text. It's exclusionary.
And so it might have been at the time.
At the
A
time-
permissible way to write that stuff, but it's no
Sure.
longer seen as such
And I
in
think
the
the city,
zoning world.
in good faith, was trying to protect Bundy's
Yes.
and write that in so that the business could continue. And I'm not criticizing the past. I'm saying that now we know that that's not the way we should do it.
Okay. So I guess
So
that-
we want to do it the way we should do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that, how is that?
And now we have an opportunity to take a look at the map and say, well, we know that this has been a traditional kind of neighborhood business location. Maybe this is a spot on our future land use map that we should mark that way so that if there's a request later at some point for a rezoning, for example, to B1, it becomes a lot easier to make that happen. And if that's not something the group wants to do, that is your purview. I'm suggesting that as an option.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think we need to continue to provide for it to continue as is.
We lost a lot of restaurants in that area.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
made it a very walkable, desirable spot
Yeah.
for resorting that is gone. And certainly, Bundy's got a long-standing history, and to take something away, I think we want to be able to provide something back.
We
You
do.
know, a while ago, we had a great project to do some expansion, and that got
We-
shot down
did.
for some reason, but I think we need to restore some of those rights,
We've had
especially right there.
severe residential encroachment on all of their zoning,
Mhm.
severe.
So you just want to take that parcel and make it commercial? That what we're doing then?
And my suggestion would be I don't know what the category is, but similar to the way that Northside Memories or the Cobb store, if those are marked commercial.
Is that commercial or is that a B1?
Well,
This is zoning.
We're
So,
not changing
yes.
that, we wanna make it,
Yeah.
do on the future.
So
I
if
know.
it's just a commercial category there, then
Yes.
that seems like the best
Commercial.
choice.
Okay, so while we're on this, are there any other small, is that the only small business in this Brown area?
And I think all the other
Other
ones have
than
been
the
turned
one,
to homes.
these ones are all, these are existing businesses,
Yes,
like
they are.
Outpost and the,
Mhm.
you know, carry out and stuff. But, so they're the only one
Mhm.
there now?
They
is
are.
Operating as business, so just that one parcel.
Yep.
I believe so. Correct?
You don't know any neighbors?
That's the only commercial type property and that's had been rezoned to residential. Like Northside Memory stayed commercial.
Right,
You're not aware of any other business that got
that's correct. I'm not aware of any other businesses. There's no other businesses over there except for the three of us.
And you have the one parcel, you don't have more than one parcel.
That's correct.
Okay.
Would you ever try to acquire another parcel next door?
I don't think there's a parcel to acquire.
Yes, there is behind us. It's not a vacant parcel, but there is.
Okay, that's what I meant. I don't think there's a vacant
Yeah,
parcel.
it's not vacant.
The gentleman immediately behind you,
What is that?
a home, residential home.
Could do that one too.
But that's always been residential, hasn't it?
Don't know.
Do you
But then if they were to acquire that property, then they could ask for a rezoning of that parcel
They
to
could.
commercial.
And you're not changing the zoning
Nope.
now, you're saying this, we envision that
future.
at some point in the future, these two might be a nice spot to both be commercial.
No, that's an easy one.
Because and it's adjacent, yeah.
What else?
So the others are kind of both specific and broad. So let's go south, and because this is a project that Senior Services talked about on Monday night at the city council meeting. In the area north of Blue Star along M140.
Yeah.
Yes, these lots there, they are show on this map as not being in the city limits, so they're below that dash line.
Yeah.
Ah,
So these
Here
are
we go.
now, most of those lots are currently in the city limits because of a 425 agreement. So the city's responsible for planning and zoning, and Senior Services is working with a group called Samaritas, and they would like to build housing next to Senior Services. And right now, with the B2 zoning, that will be very difficult for them. This area has always been envisioned as commercial by both the township and the city. However, now that Senior Services is there, I think both the city and the township see that as an opportunity for housing, for seniors specifically. I don't know how you all feel about that, but in order to allow for the Samaritas development, we need to think about our master plan and whether we're open to some mixed use in that corridor to make that easier for them.
So just using the mixed use, the existing mixed use to change the commercial to mixed use.
Mixed use, I think it's difficult to allow residential outright, although I'm open to that. That's part of the discussion for you all to have. Their project will be really heavily residential. They're pursuing state funding, and in order to make the funding formulas work, they really need, they would rather not go mixed use, but if that's the only way to get it done, then we'll have those conversations.
So this parcel, this is where that marijuana facility is, that new one?
yeah,
Right here.
yeah.
And I
just a little zigzag.
That you guys
In
have,
there.
So,
It's gotta be the
It's where-
gas station.
Where the
It's
row
just
shop
to
is.
There's
the
still
south of the
commercial
gas
properties
station.
in there. Country House Furniture is in there. There's a
Right.
pharmacy.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah.
other commercial uses in there.
This is the old gas supply place.
And that's exactly the property, right?
They're
Yes.
right behind, yeah.
Right in front, that's what we're talking about, the
Yes.
old gas supply place?
Yes.
So,
Right by John Stereo.
and Ryan has always said when he, before us, trying to think about housing outside of the box, mixed use, you have to think about that. In that area, although mixed use, he says, you know, there's spots where we're trying to put housing in places, and here's an opportunity to think outside the city limits, but it's now in the city limits, to look at housing. We haven't had senior housing project come in quite a while, and most of the projects have come outside the city. It's a great I think it's a good opportunity.
You know, is it enough to think of, you know, the senior services building is in the township. It's not in the city. Is it enough to collaborate somehow there on a project in terms of approvals down the road? Are we willing to contemplate that type of thing in our master plan, saying, well, you know, this technically isn't allowed, we don't allow housing on these business parcels, but if we consider the site as a whole with the senior services and now adding senior housing, is that something that we're willing to think about? These are just ideas for you all to consider.
Well, with the 425, isn't it? It's
Senior
just-
services is still in the township.
So that,
Yeah, it's
that's
just a little,
carve out, okay.
yeah.
So what's the definition that they gave for senior housing?
I don't have those details. I don't have enough specifics on the project. We don't have an application right now. It's all still a concept.
most likely it would be some type of multifamily, right?
Like
I mean,
60 and up is my guess.
What,
That's
80,
up
60
tomorrow,
and up.
I can
Yes,
draw social
apartments.
security, so I'll talk.
Well,
Well, so.
going to, but-
Happy birthday.
Samaritas has something similar in, I think it's Muskegon.
Yes.
And I think it's 55 or 60 on up. I think it's 55 on up.
and are we talking about detached houses?
No, it's an apartment.
I mean, look at the size of this lot here.
It's small.
Yes.
It's not,
It's very small.
So it's apartments.
so yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you
A
can just kind of,
four-story.
she doesn't have any details, but I think you could
But if you-
deduce by
if
the
you
size of
go
this
on-
parcel, you're not
yeah.
gonna have detached single homes there, because
No.
you're not gonna have
Okay.
enough.
Yeah,
it's not
you
enough
can-
Make it work.
space.
You can go on home and search for Samaritas Senior Housing, Muskegon,
And you can see what they built.
Okay.
and you can see what they
I
built.
mean, I think it's a single building.
It
Oh,
is.
It is.
One
Yeah,
building.
and I think like, and they seem to hover around the 50 number of units, not age.
Oh,
Right,
yes,
right,
yes.
right.
But I better clarify that number.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So,
Yeah.
just a question, then, must be something wrong, otherwise somebody would have asked for it already. If you're thinking about turning that one orange for mixed use, is there a reason not to just turn it all orange?
Not necessarily.
Well, so it's not all ours.
It's not all ours. We would only be able to
Whatever's
do
in-
the parcels and this map wasn't the most up to date, so the little one
This
is.
has-
Yeah.
it's
It's all commercial through there.
This
It's already
and
businesses.
Yeah.
There are a couple houses.
I'm just talking
Yeah.
about for the future.
left.
Yeah.
There's a single-family home on either side of the street that remains. Otherwise,
Yep.
it is commercial.
Yeah, and there's the drive-in across the street.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And, well, see, car's right there, because, yeah.
So, I mean, so I know like they've said they'd rather have residential than mixed use, but so this is an interesting, I want to bring this up real quick. You have this mixed use on your, as a category in your future land use, but when you look at it, the only place on this map that there is mixed use is here in the township, which by the way, in their new master plan, this is not mixed use. It is just commercial.
Okay.
So right now, this is kind of irrelevant to this map.
Because we don't have.
Because there's none in the city, and then that's not true anymore. So, so one of two things is, like, if we wanna use this as, I think, like, what we could do, maybe, and this would be a compromise that might work for them, is plan future land use mixed use, and then in the narrative, we say, we could allow multifamily, like, you could rezone it to multifamily or commercial, depending on, you know, the circumstances that make sense, you know, and kind of at your guys' discretion of what you think it would move forward to. So maybe that could give you that flexibility, then you could say, okay, well, they want to do multifamily here, it's mixed use, we think it's appropriate, we want to see that development meets all the other, you know, things in, you know, that you would need to approve and rezone it multifamily.
So are you then saying just that parcel becomes mixed use?
No,
Or are you
I'm
thinking
kind of
about the
saying
whole
the
thing?
whole thing,
The whole
thing.
mixed use,
Yeah.
and give you
Yeah.
that flexibility, I think, that you're looking for, to be able to make those decisions as they come in, because you can't foresee the future. You never would have guessed that somebody would have came in and put an
Right.
apartment building there.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I've driven past it a gazillion million times. Like, that is so out of the blue, right? So, but I think people are getting more trying to get more creative, and so I think that's a way that maybe you can, you know, maintain some control, but still be flexible.
I don't see a downside to that.
Right.
Mhm.
And while I'm thinking about it, can you make a note for, is it Ryan, would you ask?
Yes.
To send me the boundary of this M140,
Yes.
425 area? All right. Okay, so we'll redo this mixed-use language to allow for multifamily, commercial, and then we can kind of decide, like, if there's others that really make sense. Those are the two that I'm thinking make the most sense. Or,
Okay. So let's come just a little bit north, but over into the R1 near Trailside. This is an area where the lots are pretty small, the housing is fairly dense already, and we're hearing that one of the older, maybe I shouldn't say older, one of the churches that was there is no longer being used. The building is still in really good shape, and the church is contemplating future use for the building and wondering what the possibility might be to reuse that building for housing, for apartments, maybe 3 or 4, I don't know how many would fit there. There's
Oh,
parking
like-
available.
Like what they did in
Probably
Covert?
4,
Yeah.
like the
Like
one in
in
Covert, yes. So right now, of course, that would not be possible. This is a single-family residential district.
Where exactly is that?
On Indiana, I think it's
1070 Kalamazoo Street.
Yes, it's near Spencer and Kalamazoo, or,
Aylworth, Aylworth, and,
yes.
Yeah.
I think it's
on
between Spencer and.
No, it would have to be on this
Cartwright, I
side.
believe.
It is,
Between Spencer and
Yep.
Cartwright.
yep.
Okay, right in here.
It is between Spencer and Cartwright.
Yep.
So that's something to consider as well as we, and this won't be, this is not the only time something like this comes up. It happens with older buildings, older homes throughout the community. We get requests often for, you know, can I convert this building into apartments, or can I turn my home into a duplex? And right now, the answer is always no. And sometimes people are going the other way, taking a home that was a duplex and going back to single family, and I'm always very careful to tell them, once you do that, you can never, go back, because our zoning doesn't allow for it. So be very careful about your choices, because, you know, once it's single family, that's all their zoning allows in those districts.
Do
Yeah.
we need to consider a zoning change?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, some great duplexes. Ryan showed us duplexes. We couldn't tell they were a duplex or a triplex or a quad. It was a residential living space.
another thing that I think,
So,
oh, go ahead,
oh,
Mary.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna bring up another thing, and, you guys have a lot of categories on your future land use map that, a lot of them were created with the 2018 plan, but to me, at least, doesn't seem like there's attached urban housing, and I think it's the regional, commercial, or there's a few of them that say like in.
Campus Village.
Or the campus village, yeah, campus village and attached urban housing, like, both these said in the zoning plan, in the 2018 plan, that you needed to create zoning districts for those, which you did not, it appears. These are your new zoning
Yeah.
districts. So the question is, do these now, like, you didn't do it, I guess, why didn't you do it? Is it something you want to do still in the future, or does it mean that these need to go away, because this is not gonna really happen?
And
that
I
make
was going,
sense?
I was going to ask about this, because isn't this Maplegate now? A good share of that?
There
It's right
is-
north of,
Yeah.
Overton?
Well, there's still a vacant parcel there that is owned by the railroad, by CSX.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I think Maplegate has
But
taken up
Maplegate
some.
is very near there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's near, it's not in that,
no, it is, it's gonna
Yeah.
be in this,
Is that in
because
the
it runs
green?
right up to the
Yeah.
back end of Overton,
yep.
which,
Well,
so
there's-
I think that's
No,
probably.
wait, no,
Maplegate is
Aylesworth-
farther north.
I'm sorry?
Maplegate is north of that pink, just north.
Oh,
Yes.
right
There?
here.
That's Maplegate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, okay. So attached urban housing.
And,
is-
and attached urban housing is also described in the narrative as, being walkable. I don't necessarily consider that part of the city walkable to get to downtown.
Not as much
I mean, it's
as
certainly to
another
the lake,
location.
but
Bikeable.
Yeah.
it's, yeah, likeable. And I also, in reading it, was like, why would it be an area that's designated for it as opposed to just being allowed in the residential areas and just sprinkled in? With, as you say, Clark, the duplexes that you couldn't even tell were duplexes.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to put them into a little circle and say, here's our attempt at attached urban housing for the millennials.
I think the push for this more integrated, mixed residential use zoning wasn't quite happening yet.
Okay.
When this plan was being made in 2017, 2018, when it was adopted, we weren't quite to the crisis that we are now. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And, the thinking was still just different.
So I would say that given the time has passed, that, to your question, I would get rid of attached urban housing as a future land use and then deal with new kinds of housing as part of what we zone into the current residential zones.
Everybody agree that go away? So the question is then,
So, in fact, where he wants to do the church is attached urban dwellings.
right, but do we change?
Where he the church is,
this block, or is it
it's
this
no
block?
farther east along,
I thought it was on Indiana.
But I
it's
thought-
not, sorry, it's Kalamazoo. Spencer and Kalamazoo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, driven by it.
Oh, okay.
Here, it's on one of these corners, right?
Yes.
Eddie said
Okay.
between Spencer and Cartwright, so they would put it
1080, yes,
Okay.
or 1070, yes. And there are two properties there, but like I said, that's really more of an example of where, there could be other places like that in town where as time goes by, someone sees a better use for something, and are we willing to consider that it could be multifamily? And not that it's going to be torn down and be some big, 20-unit multifamily complex, but just that they would be able to reuse the existing building for 4 units. Is that the type of thing that we're now willing to consider in our single-family residential districts? It's a big change.
Well,
Yeah, I get that
We
point.
may be, they may not.
and that's what I'm getting, that's what I was gonna say is, first, I think it depends on how well it blends in. Like we saw with many of Ryan's, you wouldn't know that it was multifamily.
Right.
and it's small where it would be one or two people. So it wouldn't be a significant increase in number of people.
Right.
Would a submission of a building plan be weighed into consideration of, you know, if they wanted to convert that, submit a building plan as a proposal? That would weigh into the decision of the change of the zoning?
I
Or
mean,
the building?
Ultimately, if we're zoning differently, then yes, but if we're just talking about making some sort of text change that allows it by right, then not necessarily. It depends on what we do with that.
Well, and that's the question that I have as well, is once we decide on the future land uses, and we want to allow for different kinds of housing, our current zoning doesn't allow for that.
That's right.
So
We start
you
the
have
cycle.
it's now the chicken and the egg.
Yes.
You know, you've got a developer that wants to come in, but there's no zoning, so they have to wait 18 months for zoning to get done. Shouldn't the planning commission be proactively looking at our future land uses and change our zoning ordinance to allow for the future use, such that when a developer comes in, it's ready to go?
Sure, yes. Yes, is the simple answer.
Ideally.
Okay.
But we're here tonight to look at this.
Yes, I understand,
So
but I'm
this
I'm
has
just
got to
saying.
be the chicken or the egg, I don't know which.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this is the embryo.
It's gotta start somewhere.
right. So,
Yeah. I mean,
Well, so what is it currently zoned?
R1A,
and is it, so
But
R1A
and
on this
and it has a
too?
church in
the
it.
church.
And I can't recall off the top,
Still
is
here.
our churches allowed
Yeah.
Just
by right
allowed by
in
right.
R1A?
I was wondering, good question.
I
Yeah.
just couldn't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So it can remain a church or single-family residential, and really not much else.
Like the corner of Michigan and Indiana,
Right, non-conforming.
that was a church.
Yeah,
It was tore down, and now it's Bethel.
yeah.
Same thing with Baptist Church, Center in here,
Oh,
now it's apartments and commercial.
So how did you guys
What
make
is-
those happen? Or
What
did
is
they
this considered
not?
right now?
Oh,
Nothing?
It's
It's just
Overton.
called Overton.
So,
Yeah,
because
nothing.
it's surrounded by what? Where we have multifamily,
Multifamily. And
Single resident
the attached urban.
and then.
and single family.
single family. So this could be, because of these, you could zone it that, or you could say, well, the neighborhood's really single family, that should be single family.
But I thought it was rezoned to RM1.
it is.
Overton, right, from commercial or business or whatever.
Yeah, so to make it,
To allow for the
we
housing
should
that's gonna go
make
there.
it multifamily to be in sync with your
Yeah.
zoning.
It's gotta change.
Yeah.
Back to the question, how did we make those other ones happen? Do you recall?
Were
The
they-
Baptist church?
They were not
No,
zoned
that was
residential?
prior to me.
And I think that, because they allowed residential, and they took that out, and they made them all single-family residential lots, that probably wasn't that hard, at least like where I live. That was a parking lot.
Have all of you
Phil
seen
Brandt's
the
house. Or
original
the Phil
zoning
Brandt's
map
house.
for South Haven?
Pardon?
The original zoning map, when zoning first started? You have seen it?
You have it?
I do,
Oh.
2 times.
Residential and
Residential.
commercial.
Yep.
So
I
that's-
see.
It looks like all this should become multifamily according to your new zoning
Yes.
ordinance too, right?
It should.
All of this is.
Yeah.
So does that bring, that doesn't bring the church in?
You've got all of the trailside properties in there too.
Well, that's multifamily, that's what
It
she was
is
saying.
It is multifamily now,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Surprised, I didn't realize that.
Multifamily districts allow for single-family homes too.
Okay. That's all that are in there are single-family homes,
So, like-
but it's a multifamily district, okay?
The original PUD had a mix of attached units
Okay.
and single-family.
Okay.
Hey, how close is that church to the industrial area?
Couple of blocks away.
Couple of blocks,
You know,
right.
it's
Is that on this bigger
two,
parcel
I
right
think.
here?
2 blocks from it.
Because I'm thinking of that transitional neighborhood edge. You know, I don't know how, I think there's a limit there though in terms of 1 block or
I think it was even half a block.
half a block,
Okay.
yeah.
And has that one been actually used, the transitional business edge? Because that was created as well in 2018.
Yeah, that's another one I was like, do you want to keep this one? Because I don't think it.
So that one is interesting to me. It hasn't been used as a zoning district, but I've had a lot of people ask me about that because of the properties on, is it Huron where the asylum is that we just were talking about? So that stretch is very kind of mixed use, and a lot of people ask me about that transitional. As properties go for sale there, they ask me about that master plan use and what they could do with those properties in terms of rezoning.
So, I mean, what about mixed use and transitional neighborhood edge? I mean, are those kind of the same thing? a
I
little
see
bit?
them as very similar, but I don't know how the rest of the group feels.
Yes. I mean,
Well,
do you need both?
the definition sort of indicates that the TNE is to encourage people to go into the downtown area, to live closer, to have places to stay where they work, and get the neighborhoods closer to the downtown, so the downtown has that feel of a community. So it's really for housing and also to attract more people to the downtown.
See, and that's where I would see what we now are calling the attached urban housing, with the different kinds of homes for the workforce, millennials and so forth.
Right,
I
right.
would think that you would put that into the narrative of the transitional neighborhood edge as being where you want to concentrate.
Right, yeah.
So would you ever allow like the commercial businesses in this? Or are you
I
thinking it should be
I
housing?
think the
because-
definition, there's a definition.
I think yes, because to what I read and understood is that it's intended to be mixed use.
Right.
It's
That's what I'm saying.
Say,
transitional, it's mixed.
just call it mixed use and
But it always says throughout the whole document that it has to be compatible with the neighborhood around it.
Well, we
Yes.
could
And
keep
so-
that language here too.
Yeah.
We'd want that.
Yeah,
So where the Methodist church is, their parking lot is considered central business district.
Yes,
The asylum's next to it,
yes,
and where the actual church sits is a transitional neighborhood.
yes.
Interesting.
So it's like mixed use kind of would work, right? I mean, maybe you want multifamily there, maybe you'd want a little commercial business there, maybe you want a single home there. It gives you that flexibility. And I think maybe we'd have to review all these orange areas that you have, so they still all make sense as mixed use. But I think you could accomplish the same thing as long as we word it right.
I think
I
the
think
wording
that's-
is important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think to
Yeah.
focus and concentrate, just get it down to one
Yeah,
is
because
a good idea.
Yeah, because, again, these things that make it into a zoning district, and so it's just kind of hanging out there anyway. And I think the more we can clean this up to be more in line with this, it's always a chicken and egg thing, right? But the more that we can align moving forward on both is where we strive to be. It's never perfect, because this is the law and this is the plan, but we're always trying to align.
Right. You also mentioned Campus Village, so state your case on that one.
So, yeah, so
Probably had to
this
do with
is
grants.
just these two here, that are designated that, and it again says you were to create a new zoning district to accommodate this campus village thing, and, you know, maybe, there's reading it again, it's been a while since I read it, but maybe that's another mixed-use opportunity.
Well, it almost is, because I recall those conversations, and I was at college at the time.
Right.
And it was to accompany and to create an area for kids, internships, lower income kinds of housing kinds of things that you could have 3-month leases on them, but you couldn't have short-term rentals. There was a whole.
housing.
Well, yeah, it was.
But also
it was-
businesses though.
And businesses
So
were.
mixed use.
It was mixed use, no, definitely. So what I'm saying, much of that now has disappeared. First of all, education has taken another turn. I mean, there's not as many people on campus as they are
Yeah, 'cause
doing a
some-
lot from their,
Remote.
Yeah, 'cause-
remote.
yeah.
And so I think it was an ideal kind of
But do you think
situation.
mixed
that-
use could probably still
I think mixed use is a good,
be appropriate there,
yeah,
right?
I do.
Like,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Again, when we combine these, and I noticed that you suggested combining even some districts and all, I think particularly with these, we have to be very careful that we're taking what we want from
Yeah.
one to the other. And
The
we're,
language,
and yes, and we're not,
integrating it,
yes,
not losing it.
Yeah,
not
and-
losing it.
And in here, it's actually talking about internships and almost yearly rental, so that would need to be clarified, that it would be, you know, longer than short-term, but not necessarily, internships are not necessarily a year.
Right. And I do think somewhere in there they said 3 months. No,
I'm just looking at the very beginning of
yeah,
it,
okay,
so,
yeah, but,
Any duration mentioned should probably accommodate the school calendar. Semesters would be more appropriate than a year.
yeah.
yeah, except if you have longer programs that you continue to have with
right.
training programs
Right.
in particular.
And I was gonna say for internships, that's really more
Yeah.
with businesses, so
Yeah.
that would not necessarily be the
Classroom.
Right.
class schedule.
Unlikely to be residential here if their internship is in St. Joe or someplace else.
They're probably gonna try and find someplace in St. Joe.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't anticipate what COVID would do to higher ed and move it from in-person to online.
Right,
Not
yeah.
entirely, of course, but the mix changed enormously.
Yes, it did. You said Sherman Hills?
Isn't that right here?
It is.
Yeah, now, I do have a concern with it saying multifamily, attached, residential, and resort, because resorts are no longer allowed in R1 residential areas. And these are multifamily, and this could be incorrectly characterized as resort, and that's not right. This was, you know, this is the Victoria, and that's kind of a bed and breakfast.
Maybe we should encourage resorts, so wouldn't need short-term rentals.
Yeah, the Victoria is under new ownership. So I don't know what their plans are.
Do we know what the plan is for this property?
Which one is that?
That's what had been a
The
say,
nursing
Oh,
home.
gosh, I don't have a plan submitted yet for that.
Because I've heard, you know, the modular homes.
Yes, I've heard that too. I don't know yet.
That's a really choice property, in my opinion, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
we need to encourage the right kind of,
Well, I mean, it's already been bought.
Yes,
okay.
and they're doing asbestos,
Oh, is that,
removal right now.
is that what they're doing? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I totally, the construction on North Shore Drive where they're putting in the basement and the garage, they forgot to close off the driveway, so one can walk in there.
Okay,
I saw that on the way in and I just.
okay.
Where's that on North Shore?
Brockway.
So
It's like four,
439.
I didn't read close enough. What's,
Something like
what's the
that.
distinction or the difference between commercial and regional commercial? Assuming
And I know
regional
GR
has to
in
do
there,
something
not
with
to bid
township as
your-
well,
Yes, oh
or,
gosh.
or what?
We already have a couple of limpy ones.
I would probably, again, he's asking commercial, regional, commercial. Is this another opportunity maybe to combine these, or is there enough distinction between the two that you want to keep them separate? I mean, as you can see, most of the regional commercial is here on interchange. But again, when you go to the zoning, it's just, what do you have, it B for major thoroughfare business.
That is where we tend to see more of the big box stores, more drive-throughs, more chains.
So we could kind of change the wording of this to match the zoning ordinance more, if you want to keep these two separate, like these are different
Well,
themes.
what does the zoning ordinance say for regional commercial?
It's kind of B4 major thoroughfare business.
Oh, okay, that explains it better to me than regional does, the major thoroughfare.
What's the big difference? Drive-throughs?
To me, the major difference is, right, drive-through, big box, not that we don't allow any drive-throughs in the B2, we do, it's just, for whatever reason, they tend to be more out here, the big box chains and some drive-through.
Easy access to
Yes.
196.
Yes, like I would think if McDonald's hadn't been, and Burger King weren't where they've been for forever, they would go out
Yeah.
here with Wendy's and Culver's and some of the other.
So the only like difference in here, like, so you have all of this is that major thoroughfare, it looks like, but then you have this as regular commercial. So,
Is that Second Avenue there?
so, it'd be probably better to, I don't know, do you wanna leave it so that it could be changed to something more major thoroughfare business-like in the future? And then these are pretty, you have this one, oh, that's in the township, so it doesn't matter.
What's that color?
What?
This like browny, purpley.
That's
Manufactured housing, but that's in the township,
Oh,
and
that's
what's
the
funny,
township.
they've changed that to commercial.
They have.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it gets confusing because I'm gonna propose on our new future land use map that we're not gonna show the township.
Yeah, because
Colors?
it's, you don't know, it's
It's
not ours.
confusing. I mean, it's good for planning, because now, oh yeah, that is the manufacturer, and what do we want next to that? Like, it's good
This
for
is the
the,
ravines right here, this is Meyer
Right,
right here.
yep,
And Barden's
yep.
and such.
Well, we
Right.
could just have it one color, which is township or not South Haven.
Right,
You
right.
know, proper.
Well, kind of like how your zoning map is, you know,
Mhm.
you only have colors, it'll just, the township will be like white, and the colors are where the city is, so yeah. So actually, this will go away, because you don't have this in, anywhere in the city, right? Or no? That's in the township too. I don't think you have any of this in the city.
We
It's not
had
showing.
not previously identified a place on the map that we planned for manufactured housing. We have a floating district proposed in our new zoning ordinance.
So I say this goes away on the future land use map, the manufactured housing, because the only place really it is in the township.
Probably future land use should be everything on this side of Blue Star should be city.
You've got some work to do.
You do.
You better go talk to Ross.
Talk to Ross.
Well, the amount of stuff the city does for the township in order to get grants, we do a lot of the writing and a lot of the legwork for all their expansion. It probably would be the right trade-off eventually.
Not to mention subsidizing police and
Utilities. I'd be happy to have that conversation.
You want me to put that in your master plan? You tell me.
I do. Actually, I've said it many times over the several years.
Kelly, before we leave this one area here, this is where that nursing home is.
Oh,
I
sure.
I read that the suggestion was that if it no longer that we put it residential in the future. And I don't know if that needs to be in a future plan, or I know we have to leave it there now because it's privately owned and somebody's doing something with it.
Yes.
But in the future, it was suggested that since all of this was, that should be residential as well.
And it is,
Or
it's just
Zoned
multifamily.
Oh, it's multifamily. Oh, they
It is.
consider that multifamily.
Yes.
So right now, leaving it the way it is matches what you have in your new zoning.
Mm, okay.
I don't have any land to really consider. Are we trying to promote commercial development, industrial development down this way, or is this the slow retreat since the railroad's gone, all these industrial properties going away?
I've not seen residential pressure on those properties. I think we still have very viable businesses there, and I think the city is really interested in protecting our businesses that are there. I think that's probably an important question for you all.
This color was up in here. This has all
was.
been pushed.
Wow. Wow. It's good to have a historian among us.
A lot of that area is filling with self-storage now.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because that doesn't provide many jobs.
It doesn't.
No.
Places for people to keep their toys.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I would like to go back, because this is currently R1A, and just with the resort, and resort is not zoned for R1 residential areas, I think we should keep it as residential.
This
Single
property
family?
here.
Yeah.
Single-family residential?
Well, that's what it's currently zoned.
It's zoned single family, it's planned for multifamily resort. I know the current property owners would prefer this, RM1.
Yeah, but what would the residents surrounding it prefer?
We four and no more.
But they plan to continue operating it as a resort, and they would like to be able to make improvements to the property. So they have been asking questions.
Right, but, I mean, it's currently R1A, it's been that way. I'm uncomfortable having that just without more public input.
Was there public input on it in 2018 when it?
Well, so there was a charrette, I'm not sure how much was with regard to this area. I wasn't here then.
I don't think much, as I recall.
Yeah.
Is it considered legacy? Is that why possibly it's been there forever? And
It's been there a very long time, yes.
I would treat that the same way we just treated Bundy's. No different.
As long as it stays similar in use, that's what if the improvements mean increased traffic, increased number of units, then that's my concern.
Yeah.
will they have to come to us for that increase or not?
It would depend ultimately on what they want to do. I think
Okay.
they're still too new to know for sure.
Okay.
We've just had some initial inquiries. Right now, it's non-conforming. And so there really isn't anything that they can do. And I think they don't know for sure yet what they would really like to do. So I think they're just trying to make some decisions. And, we have had the discussion of, if you rezone to RM1, this is supported on the future land use map, and then you would be able to do some additional things that you can't do now with your building, because resort is a permitted use in RM1. So have
Is
told
that the
them that.
only one, is RM1, is that the only resort permitted use, or are there other categories that resorts allowed in?
Right now, really, I think it's RM1. Hotels are allowed in other business districts.
So they can't put up a hotel there, they couldn't
Right.
do anything like that.
Like I said, we've had a lot of residential encroachment. So we gotta get pro-business, allow some density to be put in for, whether it's hotels, resorts.
And it's kind of used as a resort, you know.
But it's low-density resort, which is more commensurate with the neighborhood.
And all the neighbors bought it knowing it was a resort.
A low-density resort in an R1A that was a non-conforming use, so it's limited in what it can do.
Correct.
When inflation was low. Times have changed.
But you mentioned supporting business. I know that's something we talked a lot about with the B3 district while we were working on the zoning ordinance. We've got as a goal to take a look at some point at our B3 setbacks. I don't know if that's something that we need to think about with our waterfront business category in the text. Our setbacks are pretty aggressive for most of our B3 lots. We've got, I don't remember off the top of my head, but something like a 35-foot front yard setback, similar rear, and then 20 feet on the sides. And I think it's going to be really difficult for most businesses to take a lot of these lots that are available here and meet those setbacks. So that may be something for you all to consider as well.
Okay.
It's come up with every business that's been in front of us from the B3 lately. You know, Gull Lake, the Maritime Museum, Captain Lou's, anything that's been in front of us in recent years has been not conforming.
So when you say back and front, so along the river, is the back the river side or the back the front side? Because I know that
When most of what's there was built, the river was considered the front.
Okay.
So that's
So-
an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
So can we just
The
say,
person you really have to ask that
But,
question
yeah.
to is the assessor.
well, so this was to help me ask my question. So I'm just gonna say the riverside or the roadside. So I could appreciate the riverside being larger to protect the integrity and water runoff and ensuring some purification to the water. But the roadside, is that to allow for parking, or what's the purpose of the larger setback?
Right, I'm guessing that it was parking, or just, you know,
Floodplain?
we still tend to think of, in the business districts, that we need a lot of separation between uses, is kind of the traditional
But that was-
business district thinking.
And that was going to be my next question. 20 feet on each side, so that's 40 feet
40 feet.
total between businesses.
Yes.
That does seem
It's
a bit
aggressive.
over, yeah.
Yes.
But that hasn't to do with runoff. That has nothing to do with runoff.
I don't think
That
that was a
requirement, yeah.
consideration really when those setbacks were in place. I don't know what
Well-
the consideration was at that time.
And the thing is, they could all be paved.
Yes, they can.
So
Oh, yeah.
water runoff doesn't,
It wouldn't, yeah, if they
Yes.
could have driveways and all.
yeah, so it would seem that what would be more appropriate is the riverside, X feet, and green space to help with runoff.
Right.
And then the sides or the front come up with something that might be, less, but incorporate language to ensure that the water runoff isn't
Yeah.
causing impurities not to get filtered out properly through the slope
Okay.
grade.
So,
Does that make sense?
yeah, I mean, one thing that we often do is, you know, see how like you guys have like this hatch here. It's like sometimes we create what we call an overlay district that would say, you know, this is a water quality overlay district, and in the future, we would like to see in the zoning ordinance that you have some kind of 10, 15-foot native natural area between the structure and the water
Vegetation.
body. So that is something that you could
I like that.
add to this as a potential future.
You've identified the problem areas, I think we've given the answers on those, so we're gonna cut a few of these that seem redundant or that we've never used.
There's a few other things, like this, you know, is now single family. Yeah, sorry.
What was that?
Yeah, public. Is this the big soccer, the soccer field? No. No.
That's
No,
the
it's a school.
High school, the high
So
school
high
and the
school.
soccer
So
fields
why
are
do we
over
have
here.
that, so the high school is
Church over here.
single family?
It's public.
Okay, yeah, right, the
Right.
high school. Okay, it's public area, here it's single
That
family.
needs to
Okay.
be changed, I guess.
It's just zone single family.
Okay, that's fine, all right.
Yeah.
So, but all of these public areas are still good, like, that's one thing I was curious on, like, we need to make sure, maybe that's something Kelly and I can kind of look at to make sure that
Yeah, with
these are
Brian.
all public still,
Yes.
and that they should stay public, so we'll look into these. The other thing I
So
thought
this
about.
is actually a church here, I believe, is it not, across the street from the school?
It's Lutheran.
Yeah, I don't know whether that would be public, private, do they have a school there perhaps? Is that what
They
it
do.
is,
They do.
public, private education?
Yeah,
It's
there's-
private.
Yeah, it's private.
Yeah.
And it says public and private education, I guess.
Oh, okay,
It is.
okay.
Same
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Cross.
I didn't realize it said education, so I thought it
The-
was.
So
the
that
hash,
would be, this
the
would be
hash.
St. Basil's
Okay,
School right
that
there.
makes sense. Got it.
In church.
Are you,
Yes.
in terms of combining, this is the only conservation is around Stellar Pond, could we do park/conservation and put those together?
I think one denotes we take care of it, the other one denotes nobody touches it.
I think we could put that language
Put it in.
in there, like it's park/open space conservation areas.
Natural area.
Unless you really feel you want to keep them separate. Because like, I could see like this being more natural area. and
Well,
not
and
too.
along those lines, so I think I had asked in my email, so like Joe Ashen's property, and there's, it's not very developable, and it provides a lot of drainage control and things like that. And if there's like a conservation type category, is there a potential for a different taxing? Because there's a different taxing for agricultural, correct?
Oh, that's an assessor question.
But that's what I would like to see, because it's not developed, it's very natural, and it really provides a benefit for everything coming to the lake with how close it is.
Right.
There's a significant creek that runs right
Yes,
in here as
and
well.
especially if it could be rezoned, that would provide a tax benefit to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
To keep it in open
Is
space.
this even
To keep
indicating a pond or something?
There is,
It's-
there's a little pond, well, it's very low now. It
Yeah.
Used to fill quite high in the winter, 10 or 12 feet, and the kids would ice skate back there.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I would like to provide that opportunity if he might be interested.
Okay, we can ask. I don't know what he would say about that.
My preference is to keep them separate.
Okay.
Makes it easier to see. Giving bids for somebody to take care of the parking.
Because he owns several
Okay.
acres back in there, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the one to talk to him about that. There's a yurt program.
Oh.
Well, no, so, I mean, because people, I think, had mentioned about him, like, deeding it to Conservancy or something like that.
I haven't
For-
heard that from him yet.
For preservation.
Okay.
But I think he wants to retain ownership.
That's
So
what
that,
conservation is.
so that would be a way for him to do that, especially if it would decrease his taxes, because it does have building issues because of the topography.
So that
and the
would definitely be
wetlands.
an assessor
Yes.
question, because, when working with the Land Conservancy and you put the easement on, it is up to the local assessor of how they do your taxes. So that is definitely an assessor question.
But even if it's without an easement to a nonprofit, is there a way for someone who has so much undeveloped, developable challenged property that provides a significant benefit because of,
I would say then the city should just acquire it for a park or open space.
I don't think he's interested in that right now.
yeah,
But-
no,
but because then it
Right.
sounds like he wants to do something in the future, like, right?
Yeah.
20 acres in the city limits.
Right,
It's
so
beautiful
like,
property.
I mean, if you put a conservation easement, that's in perpetuity.
No, I know, so that's
So-
why I'm just,
So like, I would be concerned about the city offering a tax benefit if it wasn't in a conservation easement, or if it wasn't just, the city buys it as.
or that's, I was wondering about a zoning district, similar to like
So
agricultural.
that could be changed, and like, I don't know if that, I don't know.
But see, if
I-
it's changed, then the tax benefit goes away, it's only as long as,
Yeah, but that's kind of showing preferential treatment. Well, I'm not gonna develop my land, and it's green space and providing a benefit, so I want that now, and I wanna change it for
Well-
future. I think
No,
that's,
yeah,
that's
okay,
not-
good point.
I don't think that's an equitable thing to be doing.
Is it even labeled a wetland that he can't touch? Maybe he could go in, fill it all in, build on it.
If it's
would
attached to a creek, probably not.
yeah,
by
I don't
water
think
to
you
the
can
state.
fill
So
it in.
you would have to get permits to do
Mhm.
filling, probably, most
Yeah.
likely.
All right, what else we got?
We never really resolved this area.
Yeah,
And like, and if we get rid of the attached urban housing, like what does this become? That's still a question out there.
Well, this is a transitional neighborhood edge, right?
Yeah, I thought we were kind of looking at transitional for those.
I thought we were maybe gonna get rid of that and call it mixed use.
Or mixed use.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
So mixed use, like how big of an area would you want it to be? This is where our church is like, I think it's here, isn't it, on the corner?
I thought it was like a block, and then I heard maybe it's a half a block, or, originally, and as that was being described. That doesn't mean we have to stay with that, but I think there was some limitation that was rather, I thought.
I was gonna say, could it be like two blocks from the industrial? Because I
Like this
think would
kinda-
that
this
cover?
This area here?
Up through, yes, it would.
This area, be mixed use.
And how many blocks is that, two?
Two.
That seems reasonable.
And then, would you just put these ones back to single family along
I
here?
think those would be,
Yeah.
well, I think
Mixed
those would
use.
potentially be mixed use because of the multifamily across from it.
No, those are all brand new, basically.
They are.
What is that
single
called
family
right now?
homes
I
mostly.
think it's this attached urban housing.
Those are, nah, that should be single. Those are all
And
single.
it's, and your
homes that have been
zoning, it's
built.
all single.
Yeah, single, because that's what's been built there, and the empty
But
lot.
you're wondering, like, would there be like a little coffee shop or something that could maybe be built here to serve like these residents?
Exactly.
Is that what you're thinking?
But
But it could
be
be
right
here,
there, yeah.
That's close.
or do you want, or would these homeowners be okay with a little business there?
That's old
There's a
parking
business
lot.
right here at this corner too, that A1,
Yeah.
Yeah,
D
that
and
one.
D, or what is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Is that still open?
Yep.
It is,
Okay.
it is.
The only reason this is vacant is because these were, parking lots for the,
Oh, for the manufacturing sites.
you know,
Factories.
And is this is the south side of Trailside, is
It
this
is.
part of the PUD?
Yeah,
It is.
It is,
that whole
okay.
thing is.
Okay. So it's not a brownfield, so
I think
but there's
residential.
Well,
remediation
no,
needed in
they
there.
are, it's all
Yeah,
brownfield,
that's, yeah.
but it's zoned
RM1.
Okay.
I agree that that should be residential there. And then this could be the transitional, and
This
then,
could be mixed use,
yeah,
so you could have
mixed use.
businesses here
Yeah.
to service this.
yep,
Okay. And then, what about these ones here? Single family also?
yeah,
To
those are all
Overton?
single family.
And then what about this weird piece here?
So I think those are single family.
That's what this
If
says.
that's south of
That was
Maple.
a silent
Gate.
model.
There's nothing there right now.
That was the
Oh, that's the property immediately behind. Yeah, that's vacant, and they're doing major remediation again.
So in the future, would it be multifamily?
No, I don't.
This is
we're-
the
it's-
trail that goes right to Mike.
Yeah.
Past here.
More, if they got it cleaned up, what would you want there? Single family?
Well,
Yes.
I would, I don't know, I think that could potentially be, yes. Single.
use?
Or R2, you know, allow some of
Well,
the-
R2 is in, it's all single family.
It's all single
Yeah.
family?
Yeah,
We've got
there's-
R2, I didn't
No.
know what we had done with, or is
They're all
They're all-
ours are the yellow.
in the yellow?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could make that determination as,
That's, yeah.
in the future, it's single family, and you could rezone it to any of these R1s.
Yeah.
Or RM. RM would be this. So, but you're thinking this.
Single
I
family.
don't remember where we got
R1 A, B, and C.
Because, are you saying you want it single family because of this is all being
Mhm.
single family around it, right?
Yep.
And you don't want to extend this any further?
No,
No, I did, I just.
an island unto itself.
Well, wait, that, okay, that's Overton. I mean, yeah, that's Overton. That's
This is
not,
a factory, this is
yeah.
a trail right here.
Right.
yeah,
Isn't that
that's that,
Maplegate?
no, that's
That's
the
what I
railway
said.
The
property.
rail, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, so that's
Maybe
between
it's
the
a little
two.
bit
Yeah.
further north.
The
So
remediation
you
was
wouldn't
done
want
over
that
here on
transitional?
This side of.
Yeah, I think
The
that's
road.
okay, yeah.
Mixed
See, I
use?
think transitional
But we're gonna say that's
Mixed
mixed
use.
use.
is mixed
Yellow or
use.
green?
For green, a park?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yellow or green? That's my vote.
Green. So we have yellow, green, or mixed use.
Yellow.
Green
Yellow.
for a park?
Yellow, green is fine.
Right on the trail.
I go,
Yeah, that would be
CSX
nice
still
for a
owns it?
park.
I go
And
with
I know
green.
there's a fox den in there.
Is that where they are?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah, they see the kits out on Overton.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen them
interesting,
run through trailside.
interesting.
Park. I mean, it's owned by CSX, it's contaminated.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
A park would be, sure, yeah, all right. It is. And it's like, you're just pissing off CSX, so who cares? You can't really do that with a lot of properties, so now they're like, what, you put my property for park? That's just CSX.
Is that contaminated?
I don't know.
Probably nobody's done any
Probably
cores.
nobody's looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's owned by the railroad, there's a good chance.
At least arsenic from coal.
Well, there'd be leaching from Overton too.
Yeah,
isn't
I
that
don't know how,
too, so-
I don't know how much it goes north versus west. I think it goes more west than north, but maybe this part.
Perhaps, but
They
but
can't
not-
go too far west with the trail there, because that butts up right against that development on the other side.
That was where there was oil
That's
storage.
Maplegate.
Okay,
Maplegate would be south.
What about this?
No,
little sliver
Maplegate,
here?
yeah, what is
I
that?
think that's part of the trail.
This
No,
is-
so that's a little sliver that's not part of Overton.
And when the city was rezoning those parcels, I don't know why that one got missed. That's one that Ryan Bosher pointed out when we were, looking at our zoning map.
What is it now?
This little sliver
That
next
sliver.
between, along the trail by the
The
factory
green,
the
condos
green.
and Overton.
Cause it's,
It's
So is
zoned
that sup-
industrial.
So is that supposed to be part of
Pretty
Overton?
good big enough for a
so
small.
we wanna keep that green, probably?
Well, is
Yeah.
that part of Overton or
The
not?
industry's not gonna go there.
Yeah.
It's a
I-
separate little
Par-
parcel.
That's what I thought, so
So we'll
I would
leave it
leave it.
Who owns it?
Yeah.
Green.
Okay.
don't know, maybe that's CSX too, right there?
I was gonna say that might be part of the
I'd have to
rail.
look.
Can we throw that up there? Because I run that thing a couple hundred times, and I'm still trying to figure this.
Oh, yes, I can definitely do
Why don't we
that.
just throw it up on Google
Yeah.
Maps, and then we can look at it and go, aha, because there is that little forest area that.
Yeah, that's where it
Nothing is
is.
there.
Storage
Right.
bins as well, and maybe a little
Little
bit further
birds, and
north,
there are
but
probably animals in there, and then they've got a little retaining pond there for neighborhood. And they have a little fence around it. I don't know if it's a sinkhole or a retaining.
You know, we never moved the mics over here, so it's been recorded, but I don't think it's been audio.
That's okay.
This is good because you actually did create this district, so that's great. That makes a lot of sense.
So like 5. So we got like 5. Got rid of 5. Take,
4, 5.
yeah,
there
right.
were 18.
There we go.
There we go.
So right here, this is the parcel.
Can you zoom in there, Kelly?
That better? I know the lines are hard to see, but it's this
Yeah.
rectangle right
That's it.
Yeah.
Because there's that little retaining pond, and
Yeah. Yeah, so Edgeo goes right up to it, yep.
Now you can see Maplegate at the very top there, the very
Yeah.
top of
That's
that.
Maple
What's-
Gate.
Up here.
Yep.
Got it.
And then this is Overton, and this is the other
that
side.
little
Yeah.
spot there.
And it's owned by the city.
Well,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll leave it green
Auto
then.
Park.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that's helpful. Isn't technology wonderful?
See, and I kept confusing this with this right
Right,
here.
right.
I'm visual, that, between these two, that helped.
Yeah, no, having an aerial always helps. All right, well, I think we got far enough on this tonight. You guys feel good? I think that we can start making these changes. And then it's probably worth looking at it again at the December meeting once I make these changes. Hopefully Jill's not taking a vacation anytime soon, our GIS person, so she can do these. Kelly, you and Ryan and I should probably look at parks and public areas and make sure nothing's missed.
Yes,
that
we will do
is
it.
On here, so we could kind of do like an overlay, right? Make sure that's done. And he needs to send me that 425 boundary. And then, so in the next version, the township stuff, I'm gonna take all off, okay, guys? I think it'll help us a lot to focus on where we need to focus. And we'll have the South Haven one here if we need to see, like, oh, what does South Haven have planned? We'll have it here, it just won't be on our map. Kelly is setting up a meeting for us to meet with the zoning consultant, right?
Yes.
So, they're gonna help us go through those zoning plans. If you remember in the text of the master plan, it talks about, it describes this district.
Mhm.
And then it has what's called the zoning plan, and that's kind of the recommendations for the next time you do your zoning ordinance. And so we obviously, some of the stuff we did, so it's done, and like, we can take that out. And then, so we'll also, there's a lot of other stuff in there that you may have accomplished with this last rewrite of your zoning ordinance, so we want to make sure that's captured in here. So we figured the zoning consultant knows that best, and we'll sit down with them and clean that up, instead of us taking
A
hours and
zillion
hours to
hours.
try to
Yes.
learn your whole new zoning ordinance. That doesn't seem efficient, so that's what we decided on that. So that chapter hasn't been touched yet in the draft that you have, okay? So don't spend a lot of time, unless you're just curious, and it's good to understand the definitions of these and all that, but not in terms of like, oh, this is good, that's coming. So we did receive comments, and those are all easily addressed. So I think if anybody else wants to keep sending us comments, we'll still be taking them. I know Kelly shared those, so those are noted and easy to address. So just keep sending those to Kelly, and we can keep updating that. Does that make sense to everybody?
I'm sure.
And then, so we'll be back in December.
Yes.
What is that?
We have a regular meeting scheduled for the 5th. I believe it's the first Thursday. We have a very light agenda, so I figured we would do mostly a master plan workshop for that day. That's how.
Okay, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for.
Oh, thank you.
Staying
for all
on
your
track.
work.
This is good.
For the
You
most
guys-
part, we stayed in our lane.
Yeah. Can I just ask for the heat maps? There were three, I can't remember, like pages 49 and 50 or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and there were three different.
Yes.
Furniture back.
Heat, vulnerability, sensitivity,
Yeah,
and,
what's the difference between the three of them?
See, vulnerability was, if I remember off the top of my head, I'm gonna go in and add the definitions.
Oh, if you're gonna add the definitions, perfect.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I
what I'm
didn't,
gonna do.
okay, so I wasn't missing
Kind of
something.
No,
vague, isn't it?
no.
Okay.
I guess it's okay.
Yeah, no,
It's unwired.
I believe that's how it goes.
Close enough?
Okay, now you. Thank you.
that works.
Put this off to the side, and I'll take it back to that.
You're welcome. We can do an official adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I believe that to be the case.
I don't care what it was. So am I seeing you tomorrow, Janice? Is it tomorrow? Yeah. Friday.
Oh, yeah, that's when we go and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought there was the meeting. No, it's just the stuffing.
just the stuffing. I will not, oh, do you need to adjourn?
We're not done yet.
Getting ready to go. Good thing I asked.
Hey, Marcy, would you like to do just a real quick synopsis into the microphone? Like you did when we were sitting there?
Okay, so,
Is it
first of
on?
all, somebody's phone is here. Okay. Thanks. Is this on?
I'm not hearing.
I don't think it is.
None of them are on. Is it? Test, test. Okay,
How detailed do you want me to get?
just the brief synopsis of what we went over and what you're gonna do.
All right, so we reviewed the future land use map from the 2018 plan, and we are, made decision to not show the township areas on the city's map anymore. So with that, we're going to take out manufactured housing community, because that's in the township. We are removing the attached urban housing category. We are combining the transitional neighborhood edge, the campus village, all into the mixed-use category. And we are changing most of like the mixed-use area we're going to designate in that 425 area around the senior services. We are definitely addressing the Bundy's Bakery and making their parcel and the parcel behind it commercial. And we are, and the church on Kalamazoo between Spencer and Cartwright, we've decided that whole couple blocks north of the industrial area will become a new mixed-use area. The area to the west of that will become multifamily. We're going to sync that up with the new zoning. And then we have a new park north of the Overton site. The Overton site will become multifamily. To the west of the multifamily area, that was the attached urban housing, will now be single family. And we're considering conservation area potentially up on the north end where that wetland and creek is. That's to be discussed further. We talked about adding a water quality overlay district along the river to encourage people to keep native vegetation or some type of vegetation between any structures in the water resources to filter any pollutants. Kelly and I are going to look at parks and public areas to make sure that those are still accurate and that they haven't been, if we have additional parks that aren't on here, to put them on, or if land has come out of public ownership, then figure out what we need to do with that. And we are going to rename regional commercial to the major thoroughfare to align with your new zoning ordinance. And I think I got most everything. And then just Kelly and I are going to be meeting with the zoning consultant to work on the language for the zoning plan to make sure that that is updated with all your recent changes in the zoning ordinance. And then we'll develop new language that, like the water quality overlay district, would be a new district that we would propose in the zoning plan. So,
And
that
the
good?
Bundy's parcel.
She said it.
That was covered?
Yeah, the Bundy parcel and the parcel behind it will now be commercial.
Yes, okay.
I
Very
just
good,
thought-
thank you.
When you said overlay, so for our zoning along the bluff, we keep talking about our coastal resilience. Could you look at that overlay for facilitating, limiting construction along the bluff, along the whole lake bluff?
Yes. And the other question I was thinking about when we're talking about the water quality overlay, we could call it a water quality / coastal or shoreline protection overlay. Because it's protecting the shores of the river also, so that works. The other thing is, if there's other little creeks in the city, would you want to apply to that, or do you just want it on the Black River and the coastline, or would you want to consider it on the small creeks that are running through, small creeks and drains running through the city? You don't have to answer me now, but think about it.
I think it would help if we had a map of where those were. I know there's one that goes down on the south side. I think they're more tiny things that don't exist very much, except for on our north side.
Well, I can, in the next iteration, I can put them on the map, and we can always take them off. How about that?
That wouldn't include the drain system, right? These
It
little
could.
river kind of things.
It could.
Oh.
We could include any water course. You can see what it
Got
looks
a
like.
couple maps. Larry and I were looking at them. What page was that, 64? I don't know. There was, I'll find it. Just leads you right to it. Page 42, map 13. Anything that's not red is draining,
No,
right?
not really.
No?
No, I wouldn't say that. That is, the red is showing you kind of where your impervious surfaces are, your parking lots, roadways, buildings, rooftops. And then the green areas are where there's either enough tree canopy covering an asphalt or paved area, that it's coming up as more green and tree canopy or more pervious areas.
That's a good example of why, when we get a good rain event, that the river rises very rapidly.
It is. That's a lot of impervious surface that is draining to your waterways.
All right, anything else for Marcy before we let her hop out of here? Okay, thank you.
Pleasure working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, what do we got on tap? Again, you made mention.
Sure. So the next meeting is scheduled for December 5th at 7 o'clock. That'll be our next regular meeting. And our regular meeting agenda will be pretty light. And so I'm anticipating another workshop with Marcy and Becca for the bulk of that meeting to discuss. I know. We'll follow up on the discussion that we had today about our future land use categories.
So you're saying we'd have a regular scheduled meeting and then close it and then open a workshop?
Yes, I think we'll need to approve the meeting schedule for 2025, and there may be another item or two that's fairly light, but I don't have a site plan application.
Okay. Is that it? Is that all?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments, Larry?
Thank you for scheduling.
No comments.
No?
No comment.
No comment.
Okay. I have a comment. I watched the city council meeting Monday night, and for the second time, and actually I would argue the third, just depending on the personnel involved, the city council rejected what we sent them. And what I find interesting about it, prior to the draft being made as a motion, Mary had mentioned several things she thought should be included, as well as some things she had emailed the city council, but none of the city councilors would even entertain discussion about any of those items. And one I found, I'll give you an example. She had mentioned the parking in the central business district. So that was a kind of a rough discussion because there was no motion at the time. And then along came the motion to approve the draft. And I expected Mary to make a motion to maybe amend the central business district, and that wasn't done, the parking in the central business district. Instead, there was this long-winded motion by Mr. Reeser that went back to things we talked about years ago when we were doing the short-term rental ordinance that involved distancing and quantity. It's just things we've already gone over, been there, done that. And what I was really disappointed in is the vote was 4-3 with our liaison being one of the 4 of the yes votes to include this motion. And during the discussion, the attorney had also mentioned, prior to a vote being taken, maybe you should bring the planning chair in to give some background to why the draft is the way it's drafted. And Mary did not engage with the attorney on that. And so my disappointment here is I don't feel that you're being a good liaison for the planning commission. And not once, but twice now. I feel your personal ideas of what the draft should be supersede what this group votes on. And going forward in the next month, I assume not all of you watched the city council meeting. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And the amount of work that's going to come back to us again. And basically, we're wasting our time on a lot of things. and I'm not too pleased about that. So, I just say that because maybe our next meeting, there could be a vote to expel, a vote to censure, or maybe a vote of no confidence. Because I would expect you to put more of an effort into explaining what this commission does and what they want to happen, and then your own personal after that. I think your personal has superseded what this group does. And if we're volunteering our time and having workshops in addition to our regularly scheduled meetings, I don't want to waste my time. And I'm sure everybody else up here doesn't want to waste their time. So anyway, that's where I'm at on that. And being we just had a workshop, I'm half tempted to say to you guys, you know, the way city council, or not the whole council, but the majority that voted recently, maybe you don't want to have a December meeting. You put in your November meeting, plus you did this workshop. Maybe you've had enough for this year. Or maybe you do want to go to the meeting. I don't know. Let me know, because I can tell Kelly, you know, we've had enough for this year, and we'll go into January. But if we're not going to be listened to, it's hard for me to justify spending the time we do. Okay, with that, I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk again. Meetings.
Can I just add a
Sure.
quick comment? Because I share your, I'm not sure what the right word is. I think in the meeting, Kelly said she was dismayed, and she thought perhaps that the planning commission would be dismayed as well. And I certainly am, and I think, Tim, what you're saying you are as well. I don't know what the consensus, if there is one, would be. But I was very dismayed, and the motion itself was so broad and so nebulous, in my opinion.
And stuff we've already discussed at.
Right,
the end.
and it's just gonna have staff, Kate and staff and so on, and attorneys redo a significant amount of work, which will then come back to us, which will then ultimately get to city council, maybe February, maybe March.
In the end, what should have happened, they should have voted to approve what we sent them, and then if they wanted to look at that again, is to bring it up again for a change. That's how this is usually done, so.
Chair, if
I
may.
was completely, I think it's the same way, disappointed. I know that when George Sleeper was our representative, and he disagreed and maybe was not voting with Planning Commission, the first thing he did was present what Planning Commission did and why.
Yes.
And that was one of the reasons I felt like George should have continued with his history and his knowledge, and I think his experience. And I think Chairman said that really well. You need to have some experience to be able to sit and do that job, and George could have done that and continued to do that until he termed out. So again, more than once, if you look at some of the previous meetings, George would go into explanation of where the Planning Commission was and why they made the decisions that they did, and then from there, go forward with maybe a difference of opinion. So that's really what we're looking for, and that's the role of sitting here and being with us, is taking that forward. And I missed that part, and I watched that section twice. I felt like it was, I didn't get what I wanted, so that's the only thing I'm going to present to City Council, and I was aghast.
Anyone else?
I think I watched it 3 times, Clark, because it was so difficult to follow and understand exactly what was being moved.
Okay. Anything else? All right,
If I
seeing.
may.
Sure.
So, Tim, if you remember, I came to you with proposals based on conversations, based on your comments here. And you said you did not want them introduced into the Planning Commission. You wanted it to come from City Council.
Because it was
So-
too late, and that's not what city council had sent us.
City Council sent you a document that was supposed to have other discussions, and at the September 5th meeting, we requested information back from the attorney on several factors, and none of that information was incorporated or suggestions brought back to us. And so we did not have the breadth of discussion that should have happened with the items in front of us. And the motion that was sent to City Council was for City Council the recommendation was for City Council to look at this, and there were other considerations for the City Council to consider if the City Council so desired.
Now we're in the future. Right.
Well, the City Council has the option to accept a recommendation, modify a recommendation, or reject a recommendation.
Nobody made, after the initial motion, no amendments were made except the one long convoluted one. No other attempt was made at the other ones. So I take it they were not interested. So either way, what the point is, I feel, and I think some other people that have spoken up now, you didn't represent us, and this has happened twice. And you've represented your own feelings, but you gotta be able to separate the two. So anyway, I just want to say maybe next meeting, one of those three things I mentioned earlier will happen, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm not happy with our liaison portion of what's going on. Okay? All right, with that, have a good Thanksgiving, drive safe, and meeting's adjourned.